Grandy Grip, Fred Grandy, Brian Neiman.
All right, if you are following our ongoing investigation as to the covert attempts to spread Sharia law through so-called mainstream Muslim organizations in this country, you need to listen to this interview and you need to read the book, which is actually called Muslim Mafia, subtitle Inside the Secret Underworld That's Conspiring to Islamize America. The author is Dave Gaubutz, who is a former federal agent, U.S. State Department-trained Arabic linguist, counterterrorism specialist, who has held some of the government's highest security clearances, and he joins us now. Dave, thanks for being with us.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. It's an honor to be on your show this morning.
We wanted to talk to you, and I got again thanked my wife who said you got to talk to this guy. She's reading your book right now. But one of the things that I found fascinating is that you actually, and I should say it was your son, not you, but obviously you were part and parcel of this. Your son Chris went behind the scenes, essentially undercover at CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, for what, 6 months? Why, first off, did you need to do that, and what did you find?
Well, first of all, we shouldn't have to do that. We spend millions of dollars for DOD, Department of Justice, or FBI, CIA to do it. We actually had 5 people undercover, 3 females, 2 females, inside CARE National in Washington, D.C., for 6+ months. We recovered over 12,000 documents they were attempting to shred pertaining to criminal activity.
And criminal activity means what?
That they are supporting the terrorist ideology of Al-Qaeda, Taliban, Hamas, Hezbollah, per their own documents. And I'm referring to the Islamic leaders throughout America.
Supporting the ideology, or are they supporting them with money? Did you find any of that in your research?
Yes, both. And much money is coming from Saudi Arabia here to support CARE, so they can support the ideology, to get funding that then goes into Al-Qaeda and Hamas.
And let me ask you this. If this is as apparent as you indicate in your book, and they are clearly not just supporting, but actually helping to fund some of these operations under bogus charitable disguises, why isn't there a greater investigation? Why isn't Congress involved in this to a greater degree? Brian and I interview members of Congress, lots of Republicans on this show. I've yet to find one that is up to speed on this.
Well, you got the Saudi government, who's got a lot of power, a lot of money currently in the United States, even with a lot of media, with a lot of politicians. And I will always say the Muslim Brotherhood, and I'm talking about CARE and some of the other acronyms, they have a better confidential informant network than even our FBI or CIA. They have got their hands in some very high places within our government and media.
Would that include the FBI, the Justice Department?
It does, and I have many documents to show where they've got their hands within the State Department, within the FBI, and many, many law enforcement agencies throughout the United States.
Is it true that FBI is handing out bonuses to agents who are being essentially nice to CARE?
That's what I've heard, but what I always base my work on is first-hand evidence. I've been to over 250 Islamic centers out of the 2,300. We have former Al-Qaeda members on our research team. We have former officers who were under Saddam Hussein. We have officers that I have trained. We have got the information, but again, it should not have to be civilians doing it. It should be our FBI and CIA doing it.
Well, no, but have you handed that evidence over? I mean, I guess they could read your book,
Yeah.
but have you handed that evidence over to the FBI? And what do they tell you? Why aren't they making arrests?
Well, they are right now. We've got great street level FBI agents who are sitting back, but they're not getting the direction and empowerment from the directors. But right now, street-level officers are saying, we have families, we have children, we want our country protected, and they are pushing it. Our book only has 50 documents in it. I still have 11,950 that we did turn over to the FBI.
Now, let me ask you something about following the money. You talked about an influx of money from Saudi sources that I I assume, are using these organizations to spread Wahhabism and some of the more pernicious aspects of Islam. Are they also in the business, through CARE and other organizations, making political contributions to politicians? And if so, are there any in our area who are profiting from that? Because that normally buys silence.
Yes, there are many. We mentioned some in the book, and we've got, in October, we've got many names that are coming out, politicians that are going to be mentioned who are receiving financial funds from Saudi Arabia.
But is that laundered through CARE? I mean, are they using these organizations? Because they couldn't directly take money from a foreign government. So it's got to come through some kind of organized, tax-exempt organization in the United States.
Yes, and we're talking about tax-exempt, such as CARE, ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, and others.
Okay. Now, according to the news I have, your report, this would include Jerry Connolly, who was in our area, former Republican Wayne Gilchrist of Maryland, and Nick Joe Rahal, who was a member of Congress from West Virginia. Any other people in our area that we should know about?
You have several people, but you have a state senator, Larry Shaw, out of North Carolina, who's an executive member of CARE. You've got Congressman Keith Ellison.
Yeah, he's from Minnesota.
Out of Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
And inside the D.C. area, I have had teams going to several Islamic centers. One of the primary centers there is Darlo Hijra in the Falls Church area, putting out very violent material, targeting our children, to putting material in our public libraries, public schools, written by convicted terrorists, and they're doing it behind our back.
The one question that keeps coming back to me, Dave, as I look at this, if this stuff is inflammatory, have these people already achieved their goals by getting a cloak of silence over the whole thing? I mean, unfortunately, there don't seem to be a lot of voices raising up. We just talked about Frank Gaffney's report yesterday, which has fallen on deaf ears. I don't know how many people are reading your book, but it seems to me that it's not loud enough.
Well, Frank Gaffney is a great person, the Center for Security Policy. I have been from the East Coast to the West Coast. I'm starting to see Tea Party, Act for America, different organizations. The people in America are very good people, but they will not allow our country to be taken over, and they will not allow our children's future to be destroyed. There is a point of no return where in November I think we're going to see changes. 2012 we're going to see changes. People are going to either do their job or they're going to get out of office.
Dave, thanks for reading the book and thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Dave Gaubutz, author of Muslim Mafia. Check it out. Might be a good read. Mrs. Fred's reading. I'm sure we'll talk about that
She's
tomorrow
on the case.